show prep. So, so he had no idea.
I just barely make it in.
I'm sure you can tell, but we don't show.
I mean, let's put the cards down on the table here.
Miami Hurricanes, yeah. You know the name already. It's Mercy. Ha ha. It's a 6-ring Kane show. Can't forget the name though. Got Jazz, Blue Vision, DJ break the game code. Ain't no changing them, ain't no breaking them. Real Portland live from the Hard Rock Stadium. Ball 14 for the orange and green. We see the 6-ring champs. It's more than a dream. This is life on the field. Beyond 100 yards of hurricane that's never still put a damage to your squad. The 6-ring Kane show. The 6-ring Kane show. The 6 Rings Kane show. You know.
What's wrong with us? Seriously.
What's wrong with us? We're Miami Hurricanes fans.
Welcome to the 6 Rings Kane Show, a show dedicated to Miami Hurricane sports, featuring the legendary Larry Bluestein, Jazz Santana, Vish, and Danny Gillette. Let's go Canes.
I'm just going crazy here, posting all this stuff. So make sure that all my Fragile Freddy fans.
I feel like I am in the presence of royalty here, infamy at least.
Well, I mean, sir, you're gonna have to respect it. All right, you have to respect it.
This is what you get because you came with stats and all. Like we say, no show prep. You do a little show prep. You come with the point, and it's taken out of context. The next thing you know.
You get famous of it.
Mr. Santana is known throughout Tallahassee, apparently.
Apparently, man. Apparently, I still got love for them all, man. Are you kidding me?
You do what now? F them. It's FSU week, man. It's the Wednesday. The love is gone now. It is hate week.
Yeah, never mind. I was just kidding. We wanted to come back on today, really quick, before we even get into all that. We wanted to come back on today and talk a little more Canes FSU, and like you mentioned, Vish, it's rivalry week, so we're bringing the heavy hitters to the show this week. As we did mention, we're gonna have some extra content on the podcast, but this one's gonna go live on YouTube as well. So everybody can kind of check it out on YouTube. But make sure you subscribe to the podcast on Apple, iTunes, Spotify, wherever it is that you get your podcast. Make sure you guys go check it out there. Subscribe to the podcast. You'll get this plus some extra content that we'll have even maybe tomorrow or on Friday. And plus, we're doing pre and post game as well. Yeah, so you guys get a little bit of everything here on the 5 Reasons Sports YouTube channel and the 6 Rings Canes show. Yeah, man. Look, listen. At the end of the day, look, I can say I can say that FSU sucks until I'm blue in the face. All right, but at the end of the day, we've got to be able to execute. If we don't execute, that team that sucks over there, those wide receivers that aren't all that elite, like everybody says, are going to end up kicking our ass anyways, right? So, I mean, at the end of the day, they've got to perform. They've got to.
I mean, I feel like you've been attacked. You've been taken out of context, and we got to go win this game now.
Yeah, pretty much.
We got to go win this game. We got to do it for you. I mean, for nothing else, so we got to do it for you.
Listen, if we win this game on Saturday,
that post game, you don't want to miss the post game if we win this game.
You talk about cocky Miami fan, you are not going to want to be within 10 feet of me on Saturday if you're anything but a Miami Hurricane fan, because it's going to get ugly and in such a joyous way. So, yeah, I mean, look, whatever, man. It's all good. We get to talk a little more about the matchups that are coming up. Now we've got Flo on the show in case you haven't seen it on Twitter or on
I guess you never actually said his name in the intro. You said we're bringing in the heavy hitters. We're gonna
I
have
know heavy
interesting
hitter.
chats. Forgot to,
In case you didn't realize who the heavy hitter was, it's
yeah.
Mr.
You
Flo.
gotta guess. You gotta guess.
We gotta guess. Mr. Flo from the MiamiFlo squad comes to join us here on the Six Rings Kings to talk a little bit more about these matchups. Not only the wide receivers, but what's going on in the quarterback room, and of course in the trenches, which I did, and I'm going to stick to it. Right, Miami's got a bet the better of the trenches. So we want to kind of hear. Look, at the end of the day, man, that's a good football team over there. It is what it is. Okay, that's a good football team, and we're going to have to come out and execute and play good football to be able to, have a chance to win this game. So we definitely want to break down some of the positions and what it's going to take. Kind of go a little bit more in depth on what it's going to take for Miami to beat FSU. I don't know about you, Vish, but I'm pretty excited about the game because I think the biggest thing that we can take out of this is it's not about the ACC championship game for us.
Not.
It's not about definitely not about the college football playoffs for us. So this game really is just a game for us to be able to grow as a football team. But on the other side of the ball, this is for a chance to ruin the whole entire season potentially for our rivals, right? So this is a chance for us to get them out of the race for the college football playoffs. This has it's obviously bragging rights, right? There's a lot of opportunity for us to go in there and then and do some damage mentally as well as physically to that football program. And I can't see anything more exciting than for Miami to ruin the chances of Florida State to get into the playoffs. It's a good football program. I just don't think that they are at the level of a Georgia, Michigan, Ohio State, even Washington, and even some of these other one-loss teams like Oregon and whatnot. I think, look, they're good. They're good, and they can execute. And if you make mistakes with them, they're going to get you. They're going to get you because they've got a lot of talented players, at the skill position with their running backs. Their tight end is legit. The wide receivers are good. So you've got an opportunity to be able to beat a very, very, very good football program. But the bottom line is Miami is, has got some talent on their side as well. They've given away some games. Right? We talked about it ad nauseum.
Yeah.
To me, this is a game that that we can kind of come out and show that we're a pretty talented football team and that we can beat a team like FSU.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's any doubt we can win. The question is, whether we will. I would say right now we're probably playing our best defense of the season and our worst offense at the same time. So it's it's a mixed bag there, but we are playing really at a high level defensively. We had not been good at forcing turnovers the last couple of weeks. We have started doing that as well defensively, because the one thing defensively we hadn't done a lot of this year is forced turnovers. And then pick 6 2 weeks ago in Virginia, forced a couple of turnovers last week as well. So even that part of the defense is coming around. So the defense is playing at a really high level. And FSU has kind of walk through parts of their games, and then they've had this extra gear they've been able to take it to and just put teams away. And so, if we can get off to a good start and prevent that from happening, we'll be right in that game in the game. But yeah, they've in a lot of their games, Boston College, LSU, even last week against Pitt, large parts of the game they kind of looked like they were just kind of going through the motions, and I don't think we're going to get that. Unfortunately, I don't think we're going to get that version of FSU, but there are, they're not, like you said, they have not really been just blowing people out and looked unbeatable. They've looked very beatable. LSU really dominated them for a half and was somehow I think they were tied at the half, and then FSU in the second half just beat the crap out of them. It wasn't even.
They were Clemson.
Yeah, but Clemson was even worse though, because Clemson.
They made some mistakes.
I mean, Clemson blew that game completely. Clemson was up 24-17, driving to really put the game away. Quarterback fumbles, FSU runs it back for a touchdown to tie it. And then they drive down to kick the winning field goal, miss a chip shot, and then lose in overtime after they miss another field goal. So it is, yeah. So, I mean, that's a game FSU should have lost. Boston College, I think FSU won by 2. Boston College had some chances there at the end to come back and win it. So, Yeah, they're teams. They've been in competitive games, but again, they've always seemed to just have that little bit extra.
Right.
So that's why it's important for the Canes to be out in front. I think because while FSU has had these close games, they've not really, had the ball with 5 minutes left down and had to go down and drive. Because even against the Clemson game they were trailing in, their defense scored a touchdown. And so, they haven't necessarily had a lot of offensive game pressure to execute in the last 10 minutes of the game to win the game. So
Right.
there's an opportunity there to hopefully stay in the game, put some pressure on them. And like you said, it's a lot. We're playing for, progressing the program forward, getting a big win. Their season, all those things you talked about, conference championship playoffs, we're not playing for those things. They are, though.
Yeah, and I mean this is kind of it too, because I think the rest of their schedule. I don't have it in front of me now.
Yeah, no, it's a cupcake game, and then you two cupcake games. So yeah.
So look, you keep mentioning the defense, Miami's defense and how good they are, and how good they have been. And I think it's going to be important to see how they do against an offensive minded coach like Mike Norvell. He's great, right? He knows how to play call. He knows how to scheme players open, how to get things going on offense. So his defense is going to have to step it up, and we definitely want to get into that. Let's go ahead and bring on the heavy hitters. I wish I had that, man. I wish I had that. Go ahead, bring them on. I wish I had that little, that little chime that they go, heavy hitters, suckers. Man, I wish I had that right now, right? So
what's up, boys? How y'all doing?
Oh, man.
How's it going, man?
Thanks for joining us here for a little while. I know this week is crazy for all Miami Hurricane media guys, the guys that YouTube guys like us and you. I'm sure you're doing 3-a-days is what it feels like on the football field, except with your mouth and with your brain, right? So it's kind of crazy right now, just talking it up and chopping it up with all these different guys. So we do appreciate a couple minutes coming
Absolutely,
up.
bro. Absolutely.
You are family here on the show. So we were getting ready to talk about Fragile Freddy and the Florida State offense. If you don't know who Fragile Freddy is yet, sure, FSU Twitter can let you know who I think Fragile Freddy is. Because Flo, you're in the presence of greatness today, of a Twitter legend in myself. Fragile Freddy is none other than Johnny Wilson, wide receiver, and of course that whole entire FSU offense, right? I know you've mentioned this before about that it's a good offense. Norvell and that whole entire offensive staff knows really has an idea. They know how to scheme up. They're great at play calling, so on and so forth. So me and Vish were talking before you came on about the defense, how it feels like it's clicking on all cylinders right now. You're starting to get turnovers. You're starting to get guys that are healthy. I know Porter and Davis are coming back from the injury, from an injury last week, but you're starting to get guys that are getting healthy, and the depth is starting to become a thing. Because I'll tell you what, at the beginning of the season, I was like, man, defensive tackle, I don't know, man. I don't know what we're gonna do there. And then all of a sudden, you start seeing Jared Harrison Hunt starting to ball out. Leonard Taylor still with his inconsistencies, but he's starting to see where that first round talent that they keep talking about is, right? And then you got some of the guys behind them, Branson Dean, and even Thomas Gore to a certain extent has kind of showed us a little bit of his skill set, and then the young guys, Moten and so on and so forth. So, but I think this is going to be a little bit different, because if you make mistakes, they will capitalize, right? And so they've got some talented guys on the outside. However, I think Miami's going to be able to do some things on defense. It's really going to mess around with the scheme of the Florida State offense. I don't know what your take is on from the defensive side of the ball, and then we'll go into the offense.
I mean, everything you said, I agree with. I think Lance Guidry has always done a lot with a little. And now all of a sudden he comes to Miami and he has the best athletes he's ever had, So, and then you had to give him time. You had to give him time to learn the players. You can tell that as the season went on, it kind of like started clicking for him. I have a lot of respect, despite what some of the Canes fans think, for what FSU's done in the portal. I really do think from a skill position standpoint, they have a lot of good to very good skill position guys. But from our defensive schematics, I mean, that D line is it's a nightmare because you don't know what you're going to get from an offensive standpoint when you're trying to block them. I mean, he changes the front, they shift. You don't know who they're bringing, who they're dropping. I mean, to prepare from an offensive standpoint, it's frustrating to prepare for Guidry's type of defense because you have so many different multiple packages and you never know who's coming. I do think we match up really well with them when it comes to the trenches. I think we will give them fits from the defense. Like our front seven, I think is going to be a problem for them. When I say problem, I mean where they're going to really have to scheme well. And like you said, I think a lot of the Miami Hurricane fans have a hard time taking their Canes hat off and giving Mike Norvell credit, but he's a very smart offensive mind. And he's going to have to scheme against us. The key for me is going to be their offense and our defense. It will be, I don't think they'll have trouble moving the ball too much, but I think if we can hold them to field goals, not touchdowns, it'll be very interesting.
This before you say anything, I want to kind of reiterate what I was talking about as far as like you mentioned, Flo, the matchups and how we match up well with them regarding their wide receivers. And this is funny though, right? Because in the show on Monday, I said, of course, Keon Coleman, he looks good because he's a good wide receiver because he gets open easily. Well, yeah, right. Obviously there's more context to that, right? It's Norvell scheming him to get open sometimes, but I think what's most important about that statement that I made there is the fact that we're talking about Jordan Travis is their quarterback.
Yep.
And this is a guy that, first of all, I think that you can really put some pressure on him, and he's prone to make some errant throws and make some mistakes while he's still in the pocket because he's trying to scramble. He can't get anywhere. But once he gets outside of the pocket and he rolls around, of course, these wide receivers are going to have that that flexibility, that talent to be able to get open free, and he's going to be able to find guys. That's his strength, right? Is to be able to get out of the pocket and find these guys open, right? And so you still got some talent on the outside. It's not to say that Coleman is a bad wide receiver. He's not. Right. He's a good wide receiver, and so is Johnny Wilson. But Johnny Wilson, if you put a helmet in his chest a couple times, he's going to get them the alligator arms, and he's going to start dropping balls. You saw it at LSU. You saw it in other games.
Yep.
So that's what I'm talking about when it comes to like big time wide receivers or elite wide receivers. They don't give a shit about that stuff, right? They're going to go out there and they're going to ball out no matter what. I think that conditions need to be really favorable for these guys to be able to go out and be, the elite that everybody thinks they are.
Correct.
I mean, if you notice, a lot of the big plays that Keon Coleman is making or Johnny Wilson is they're being covered really well, right? It's not like they're creating separation. They're going up and making these one-handed catches. So that takes some talent. But at the same time, that just tells me that if you can stick with them, which I think that our cornerbacks can and our safeties can help with that, I think you can be able to shut them down. They're not the type of guys that I think they can take over per se, unless you get a situation where you start throwing the ball to the other thing. What's your take on that aspect of the game as far as wide receivers and how we can kind of shut that down a little bit?
I think that we've usually this year the type of receiver that's hurt us is the dynamic one, right? The one that's got that he's twitchy. He's got the fast twitch. He's explosive. He's versatile. I think we've done a really good job with the longer, bigger receivers every time we face them. I mean, people forget Texas A&M has a 6'6" dude who's a freak, And I try to remind a lot of people that are concerned about the size of these their receivers is Kobe Young is all a 6'4", and he's super physical. I mean, our corners get to see him every day. Now, I think FSU brings out a lot of length across the board at wide receiver, and I don't. In my opinion, I don't think that's a factor in the game. Will they make a play here and there? Yeah, because they're long, but I'm more worried about receivers that can run by us. You know, like the dude that if he gets a step, it's over. I don't see them having that guy. I see them having guys that are long, you know, and I will say this, you brought it up. A lot of their big numbers come from Jordan Travis scrambling. And then they're very good at what we used to call in football the scramble drill. It's a drill. Like as soon as you see the quarterback come out of the pocket as a receiver, you got to look at it like a drill, and you got to move to open areas and help your quarterback out. I see a lot of their yards that they're getting is Jordan Travis kind of manufacturing them. And then you have really good initial coverage, but then they kind of like get loose a little bit. Right. And look, you got to give credit. I think Jordan Travis for college is one of the better quarterbacks. And I don't think he's played his best year. He's definitely thrown the ball up and made some really weird decisions. I think, and this is going to piss off a lot of FSU fans, and I don't really care.
We're here for it.
We've been on their mind all week. So
I think Jordan's soft. You know, just like I think Wilson's soft. Like every time Jordan takes a hit, that's for real. He lays on the floor for a while. He grabs his shoulder like it's falling off, goes to the sideline. Then he comes out of the tunnel like a hero. He's done it like 3 or 4 times in the same year. Like, I get it. You do it once, everybody goes crazy.
Paul Pierce in college football? Is that what
for real though? Like, come on, man. So, and I know they're gonna get mad when I say that. I'm just speaking what I see. I don't have a horse in the race on their team. Like for me, it's I think he's a problem if you allow him to be a problem. I have a lot of respect for his game, but I think you hit him a couple of times, he changes. He's and like you said, Wilson's the same way. You hit Wilson a couple of times, he starts dropping wide open passes, and he's done it in multiple games. You have enough proof there in the pudding. But I will say this before we move on to anything else. I think the key to the game for me is going to be how we control that tight end. For me, I think that dude Bell is the real deal.
Jaheim Bell,
I think he's a mismatch nightmare, and Norvell is smart. He puts him in the backfield. He sends him in motion. He puts him out wide. So I think James is going to be the one that's going to have to go out there with him. I feel like that's a guy that can hurt us even if we know he's getting the ball. The other guys, I think they're going to make plays. They're good. You know, I think their running back is good. Their O-line is average, you know. But that dude out there, if he feels like playing, I think is a problem, in my opinion.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think the biggest issue is going to be the matchup. Like, who do you put on him? I mean, I like James Williams is probably the best match there. But if you had to stick a linebacker on Jaheim Bell, yeah, that's going to be a problem. But if you had to, who would you choose?
I'm going to be honest with you guys, like. And I say this because I like football, and sometimes it's hard to give credit to your rival, you know, but you got to be biased. You got to be unbiased sometimes and just be honest. I think this guy is an NFL dude, 100%, and I think he's like a guy that's in the first 4 rounds, like in the NFL. I don't think we have a linebacker that can cover him that's on the field right now. Me personally, because if West goes out there with him. The dude is long, you know, and he uses his length well. He's a good route runner. He's got good hands. I personally think he is the X factor in the game that can hurt us. Not like, okay, Keon got his catches. Wilson got his catches. Benson had some good runs. And I think this dude is a dude that is like 3rd and 9, you better find him. They're in the red zone, you better find him. Like, he's the one that ends up giving you like the other dudes give you the body blows. This is the guy that comes in and give you the knockout blows. When I watch their tape, he blows me away.
Well, I think in my mind, I'm thinking it doesn't necessarily sound good after I say it. But KJ Cloyd.
That's where I was going to.
After, you know, I mean, he covered. Look, Brittany Stool for Clemson had his, you know, game of the year for him, right? Game of his life against us. But those touchdown catches were like
he wasn't open.
Yeah,
he was just that good.
He was covered on a 3rd and 16, 3rd and 14. They went to him and KJ made a nice play and batted it down. So I think that if there's anybody that I'm not saying can cover him, but can maybe, you know, they're probably gonna have to scheme it somehow either way to kind of contain him. But I think I'm gonna go with KJ Cloyd. So I think
if it's a linebacker, that's who I would say as well. But I think Flo touched on this a little bit. Our safety play It's going to be crucial in this game because when they go scramble drill, when all of that stuff, that's Cam Kitchen's got to protect the backside. And we got to tackle well. James Williams had some of his bad habits show up late in the game last week again. He's been excellent this year.
He's been great.
Full credit to him for kind of, after had a tough year last year, a lot of people would have transferred over. He came back, worked hard, and he's been excellent this year. But you can't miss tackles. All of that flows right. They're going to make plays. They're good. Holding them to field goals. The missed tackle, putting the guy on the ground short of the first down a couple of yards because you didn't let him lean forward. All of that forces field goals instead of touchdowns, and that's going to be big. This is a big game for Cam Kitchens because the other thing is I don't know if we're going to have to use a spy on Jordan Travis too, and that takes someone else out of pass coverage. So if we're doing that again just puts more pressure on your safeties.
Yep, I agree. And I think the most important thing is also, and I know that a lot of people don't take this into account, but these guys, especially that they're a damn good defense, you got to take ego out of the way. You got to take it out because that's what happened. If you ask me, that's what happened to James Williams last week, right on that one that he tried to knock him out with that shoulder. Is your ego gets in the way, right? Your ego's a little bruised. You're pissed off, and what you want to do is to try to make a boom hit as opposed to be more fundamental and
that was also the air coming out of the balloon on that drive.
Right. That's what I mean, right?
Because that was the 97-yard drive, but there was also right at the beginning they was a 3rd and 9 or whatever. Let them convert it for 20 yards, and then they did the quarterback run, BS personal foul, and I think it just
wheels fell off.
You can't throw someone down in the field to play anymore. Where I come from, that's called tackling. But but I think all of that kind of led into that missed tackle too.
I'm gonna let this guy talk to you about his boy over there, big number 9, and that offense. Flo's going.
I don't know what do you want me to say here.
Flo, listen to me, man.
Yep.
On the show. And Vish as my witness, I asked everybody. I said, "Who's going to start at quarterback? Who's going to start at quarterback for the Miami Hurricanes?" And we said, "Well, maybe after everything that we were talking about, how it's got to be JB or it's got to be Emery."
Right.
Blue throws some curveballs at us every once in a while. He's like, so maybe you got to start with TVD, and if he makes a mistake, I'm like, "Whoa, Blue, what the hell is going on here?" I think if you let him make a mistake at that point, it's too late already. So I don't know, Vish, what you got on TV? How do you think this quarterback thing plays out, Flo?
This is enough. You have enough data at this point. It's not that you're turning your back on a bet. Like you rode with him. You rode with him enough where it cost you. Like multiple times. I'm in the camp that says Emery or JB can't play worse. That's in the camp I'm at. I'm in the camp where it's like put someone in that'll spark the team will rally around, and if he doesn't play well or good, you were getting the same play from the vet anyways. But what happens if the guy plays average or makes a play here and there? Oh, my God, what that will do to the team. Like, I'm not a big fan of quitting on your vet, but you're talking about not missing throws. You're talking about turnovers. That kills your game. It's not that he's just missing and throwing behind guys and throwing late and it looks like something's wrong because there's nothing's on the ball. Okay, I get that. That's something that sucks. And he throws a pick here and there. No, my friends. He's turning the ball multiple times in a game, plus not throwing the ball well. So you have he's giving you no life. You have nothing to hang your hat on because you haven't seen the guy you saw the first 4 games for a long time now. Multiple games. Like, dude, think about the games. And here's something I said the other day, and I said it on the show earlier today. I said, you name me a team that turns the ball over as much as us that we're in the game with 4 minutes left every game we play in. Like, nobody's blowing us out. We should be getting blown out with as much as we turn the ball over. especially the way the ACC is this year, which is so competitive. And we're in every single game. So for me, bring in somebody else, any of the two. I don't care which one. I like JB because of the offensive line. I think JB would cause the Seminoles much more problems because if you look at the guys that the guy that's making most of the tackles when we do the inside zone, it's the defensive end because he doesn't respect TVD to pull it and run.
Right.
You can run the exact same play, but you do it with JB. Now that guy that's making that backside tackle can't go make it because he's got to stand there with JB.
Yeah.
Right. So even if JB throws the ball 15 times the whole game, I still think he gives us a much better chance because of the schematics of our strength of our team. And to me, the strength of our team is those 5 guys that are in the front. So we had to do it against, hey, we're lining up, we're running the ball. Everybody knew we're running the ball. I don't care if FSU knows we're running the ball if we have a guy that they have to respect that can pull it and run. And okay, JB maybe can't throw the ball like Emory or TVD, but he's not trash. If you're open, he's going to throw you the ball, right? Like, is he going to make a tight window throw or go through 3 reads? I'm not sure about that. But I wouldn't ask him to do that. As I don't see, I'd be like, first read not there, pull it and go. Make it simple and let the guy be 6'4", 230. Look what he did last year with third-string dudes. What do you think? It can't be worse. And I'm stuck on that. Someone's got to prove me wrong. It can't be worse than what TVD is doing. So give me the upside guy.
Okay. What do you think, Vish?
Yeah, so just on that, I think the reason we've been in these games with turnovers the last couple of games is because we've been forcing them to. Like, we were even on turnovers until the last 2 interceptions that TVD threw, which is when the bottom fell out and we lost by 14 points in the game. That was a 4-point game midway through the 4th quarter. Virginia, that pick 6 saved us.
Mm-hmm. You're right.
We only scored 16 points. So the defense is more than carrying their weight. But the reason we're staying in the game, in terms of what Blue said, I would 100% not do that. If you think TVD to flow, like, I'm not in practice. I can't evaluate any of these quarterbacks. I don't know what's going on. It should not just be out of loyalty that TVD plays. If you honestly think, if you're Shannon Dawson, you're watching them, be like, nope, he's obviously got some mental stuff going on, but we can work through it. He's going to play well. And you think he's your guy. You cannot then yank him out after like a possession or whatever. Like, you got to stick to your, if you think he's the guy, he needs to be the guy. If you think JB or Emory gives you a better chance to win, you start them, then you stick with them. Don't have TVD on the bench ready to come in the first quarter if Emory throws a pick on the first drive, right? No, you got to stick with him. Whoever you stick with, because you can't play quarterback like that looking over your shoulder. And the other thing that, and Jazz and I talked about this offline, but against North Carolina State, when we had that 4th and 1, which was by far our best drive of the game, and but that was like, I don't understand why JB has not at least gotten a little game action, because I was like, if we put him in right there, there's no way we don't get a yard. But you can't have his first snap of the year be 4th and 1 on the 3-yard line against NC State in a 4-point game in the 4th quarter. Like, that's not going to work. And
Vish, let me ask you a question on that. I want to ask your thoughts on that, because no one's really – I haven't heard one podcast mention this, and it blows my mind. I understand you're supposed to be able to get 1 yard. If we kick a field goal, it makes it a 10-9 game. At that point, NC State in the second half had 5 yards of offense. 5. Our defense is playing lights out.
Right.
Let's say that we kick the field goal, and let's say they drive it down, which they hadn't been, right? And they score. It's an 8-point game. It's a 1-score game.
Yeah.
Chances are, I think we would have stopped. That's coulda, shoulda, woulda.
Yeah.
But let's say we stop them, or they kick a field goal, because they didn't drive us down and score us all game until after that bullshit happened. In my head, I was like, your defense is playing lights out. Why not take the points? Worst case that happens, you're in a 1-possession game regardless. But if your defense does play well, you have a chance to come down and kick a field and win it. That blew my mind. Do you think it was the right call?
I think Vish agreed with that early on.
Yeah, well, sort of. So I think the thinking flow is, because the defense has been so good, you're like, even if we get stuffed, they're going to punt it back. We're going to get it like at their side of the field.
Fair.
Right. On the other hand, in defense of what you're saying here is,
we hadn't finished a drive all game, so why do we think we're going to get a touchdown?
Fair.
So let's say it worked the way we thought. We get stuffed, 3 and out because they hadn't moved the ball at all in the second half.
Right.
They punt it. We get it like at their 40. We still got to go get the 40. You got to get all of them too because it's still a 4-point game. And this is what I was telling Jazz on Saturday. Just snake bit, man. Like we had the one drive, we're in field goal range, 3rd and 10. He throws an interception in the end zone. The other one, Borghaus missed a very makeable field goal that he'd been hitting all year. You make either of those, no brainer. You're kicking the field goal to go up. So we do it to ourselves. We stack bad play on top of bad play. And of course, then the defense gives up a 97-yard drive after giving up no yards the whole half.
I know, dude.
Because of course they did, right? It's one of those things. Like it's just sometimes these things don't go your way. After they got we really just left so many points on the field, and we should have gotten paid off on that game and we didn't. So it was just if you make one of those 2 opportunities we had earlier in the game, different field goal. Then there's no doubt you kick the field goal because, of course, you're going to just take the lead.
Facts.
And that was, unfortunately, and this is where, TBD is mentally something's wrong with that kid. Like that drive, he was 6 of 6. He's not seeing the field. He's got no confidence. There were a couple of times, like I was at the game where it wasn't necessarily open, but there were deep balls. And I'm like, 3 weeks ago, he would have just said, F this and stepped into it and let it rip down the field. He's so afraid of throwing interceptions. He's actually throwing interceptions because of it. He's hesitating. You throw late, you get picked off. And he doesn't trust his arm anymore. If you look at some of the throws he made against North Carolina, where he's fitting the ball in the coverage, he's dropping it over the – it's like he couldn't – if he did that now, your eyes would fall out of your head. There's no way he's making that same throw he was making 3 weeks ago.
When I knew he was in trouble was his best throw has always been, pulling and throwing the slant, right? He's money with that. When he threw the ball behind Jacoby, when Jacoby had 2 steps on the guy, and he was so open. I mean, that's in Division I football. That's 6.
Yeah, it should have been. That's
right. When he threw it that bad, that's when I was like, okay, now his best throw that he makes, he's off. This is weird.
But that's where that last drive it was so unfortunate because that was the only drive he threw the ball accurately. He hit Colby Young on a slant and hit it. It was the only one he threw in front of him correctly the whole game. He had 6 of 6 for 60 yards on that drive, converted a couple of 3rd and longs. I was like, if he could just gotten paid off on that, maybe that kind of pushes him. Yeah. We could really use a game against Bethune-Cookman right now. Seriously, work just to get some confidence up. But instead, it's the opposite end of the spectrum. You're playing Florida State on the road. So, but no, there's something going on with him that's not, and that's the thing. It's not something you fix in practice. He can go out there and practice really well until the lights are on. Until the lights are on.
Blue thinks he's on mushrooms, so I mean,
that's as good an explanation as any, right?
He doesn't look like the same guy, though. He just doesn't. He looks like a guy that's just defeated.
He's lost his confidence. He's lost his confidence. He's got the yips. He's got
the Chuck Knoblochs, the yips.
Yeah, and that's why. And the problem with that is you can't fix it in practice because you can go out there when there's no pressure in practice. I'm sure he looks fine.
Yep.
But then when you get out there in the first quarter, he's got to read the defense, get the ball out accurately. It's not happening.
Well, Vish, that's why I'm saying you got to, for your team, show your team that you want. I think if I'm in the locker room, right, and you roll out TVD, I'm not happy because it's I'm giving you everything I got. We're riding with him because he's our leader. We have to ride with him. All that, I get it. But now you pretty much have enough evidence that he's not himself. Give us something to hope for or fight for. Throw out the freshman, or throw out the sophomore. I think as a player, I would be show me that you're willing to make a change, that you respect how hard we're playing. But if you roll out TVD again, and he, like you said, we go 3 and out, or he makes one of those stupid throws in his first few throws, that's just going to take the air out of the team, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think I'm hoping the coaches have a read on the locker room and they kind of know how some of that will be received. If TVD practiced well all week and you feel like the team still trusts him, that's one thing. If you feel like they've kind of given up on him and you roll him out there anyway, I mean, that's really, you got to be inside the practice, inside the locker room to know what the mood is. I actually thought, Guidry's answer on this was excellent this week. They asked him, how do you keep your your defense
it was
engaged when they're
awesome.
carrying it. He's like, our
Yeah.
job is to beat the other team's defense.
I love that
If
answer.
we do better than them, we're gonna win. Just like the offense's job is to beat the other team's offense. Like he's like, we didn't
Yeah.
beat the other team's defense, and
Great
you know,
answer.
he's like, that's how you keep the team together. And he called out, you know, Texas A&M. We gave up 33 points. The offense scored 48. We won.
Mhm.
That's fine too. That's how you win. We beat their defense that day because
Yep.
they gave up 48. We gave up
That man's
33.
a
And-
genius, man.
yeah,
I'm
no,
Yeah,
and it was
bro.
like what he's talking about. Is like he's like, that's how you keep the locker room. So no, we're not going to point the finger. If they score 50 points, we got to give up 49 to win. If
I
they
love
score 3, we got to give up 2 to win.
Love
Our
it.
job is to just give up less points than the other team gives up, and I think that's how you keep the locker room together. It's not you're all on one team. We win multiple ways. Like our biggest win this year was a 48-33 game.
Mhm.
It wasn't the defense carrying it; it was the offense.
Mhm.
And the last few weeks, it's been all the defense won 2 conference games by themselves, basically.
Yep.
So it's you know it's not always it's up and down, and
Right.
that
Agree.
attitude is just like, yeah, we're gonna go out there and we're gonna outplay the other opposing unit. If we do that, we'll win the game.
I love
So,
it.
Flo, one more thing before we get you on out of here. I know we do appreciate your time. And I know I feel like I talked to you or at least listened to you at least 6 times a day. So I'm like, you know,
I'm sorry.
no. I just know you're. I mean, listen, man, it's exhausting. It's exhausting, especially
People don't know.
You know,
People don't know how much work y'all and we all put into it. I promise you, they have no idea.
it's crazy, man. I mean, I think Dish and myself are pulling like 4 podcasts a week. Plus,
who started this week? So I got another. We've done
basketball stuff. Now we're
we've
gonna
done
do
3
baseball
episodes
stuff.
of buckets this week. Yeah,
This is like
Wow.
almost 10 shows a week, and
Yep.
and I'm sorry, but you know, I'm gonna have to talk to Ethan about maybe bumping up my salary or something. Because
he'll give you 100% raise, man. I guarantee you.
what's 100% of nothing? I'm just kidding, bro. Shout out to Ethan. I love you,
Yeah,
bro.
yeah.
I love it. Y'all are hilarious, bro.
Before we get you on out of here, man. We've talked about a little bit about what it's going to take for Miami to perform well. But what's your take on overall what they need to do to come out with a victory up in Tallahassee this weekend?
It's I would love to give you like that sexy, oh, that's a good take, Flow, and what a good. It's gonna be boring, but it's honest and it's anybody who's researched or played football. This should not come as a surprise. I really believe in my heart. Even if I took this hat off, the Canes hat off, if we just take care of the ball, we will win. I think we got them on both in the trenches. We have them. We're a superior team in the trenches than they are. The only way that I think this game either gets out of hand or we're in trouble is if we just start giving them the ball. I'm talking about turnovers, whether it's a fumble, whether it's a pick, a tip ball. I don't care how it happens. Just turnover. This is the type of team that when they have been in dogfights, they've won because they've gotten a turnover. You know, look at the couple messy wins that they've had. They've had 3 really messy wins, but they've created a turnover late in those games. Right. And they're fueled by that. I really believe if we play some boring football, we come out of there with a W. I really believe that in my heart, like because of the matchup I love for us. What I'm terrified of is if we just start giving the ball, like we go right back. We can't do that against this team. They're ranked where they're ranked for a reason. We don't have to like it. You got to give them credit. Their skill positions are very good. But if we turn the ball over, it's gonna be a long night for us. If we don't, I really believe we win this game. And we might win this game in a good way, like 10, 13 points, because they can't stop what we do well. They can't. They will not be able to stop what we do well. But if we try to be sexy and start trying to think we're doing something new and throwing the ball all over the field, it could get ugly. It's that simple for me. Take care of the ball, we win.
I mean, and obviously, Fragile Freddy and Keon Coleman suck anyways. So,
bro, they came for me like a week or 2 weeks ago. They came. I was like trending on Twitter, and my Twitter's private, and I was trending. You go figure that out.
Unbelievable, man. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah, we'll have some more content later. But listen, Flo, man, we appreciate you coming on. I know you still got some more stuff, so make sure checks all his stuff out. And if you haven't subscribed to the Discord yet, we got to put that up. If you want something.
Yeah, I love you guys, man. Anytime, you guys really get. I like podcasts that do the research and don't just come on and start talking a bunch of shit because we gotta. Shout out to everybody.
I do that though. I do that. There's so much.
Shout out to everybody that does Kane's content, but shout out.
You do know show prep, man. That's in the front.
An extra shout out.
You're ruining our brand, man. You're ruining our brand.
An extra shout out for the ones that do the dirty work and try to get their numbers right and all that, because that shit it takes time to do all that. But I love y'all, man. Y'all are killing it. I'm excited to have. I'm gonna try to get Vish and Hoodie Girl and them and what I forgot his other name right now. I got to get him on. Yes, Matt. We got to get him on soon because Hoops is here. I'm gonna be going to the games. I can't wait. I'm excited. Nice. Appreciate y'all, man. Thank you.
All right, my brother. Take it easy.
Have a good one.
Man, listen. Speaking of hoops, I'll be at the game on Friday with Mel. So if you guys do some content, make sure I might have to hop on really quick and talk to you.
Yeah, we're gonna do. Matt and I are doing post game.
Oh, you are? Okay, cool. So we'll I'll be out there. So maybe me and Mel will do something a quick little hitter and send it over to you so you can we can talk some hoops.
I would say, just adding to what Flo said, we got to score touchdowns. Like this drip field goal shit we've done the last 2 weeks. We got away with it against Virginia, obviously not against North Carolina State. But like, I mean, that's just simple math. You drive inside the 20 twice, kick 2 field goals. You can turn it over once and get a touchdown the other time, and you have more points. Yep. Like, I mean, it's that like the not being able to finish drive.
I think you think it's going to be a low-scoring game too, right? Relatively.
If we're going to win, it's going to have to be because we're not going to put up 40 or something. But I just like when we get those opportunities, you got to cash in for 7 this week. We have not been doing that. Like we actually, I was surprised because obviously when you're watching the game, you're kind of locked in, and as bad as the offense was against North Carolina State, it was a 4-point game for most of it. So you're like, all right, can we make a play? And you're kind of living play to play.
Right.
We only, until they had that 97-yard drive that put the game, we only had the ball 4 times in the second half. One was a long drive where we missed a field goal. Another was a long drive where we got stuffed on the – like, we're moving the ball in the second half. You got to finish drives and
you have to,
with touchdowns. And so I was like, actually, the second half, we had the ball 4 times. We moved it twice, 2 3-and-outs, 2 long drives, but no points. No points. And you gotta get those touchdowns because I would say that was different from the Virginia game where – we were barely getting to field goal range, and Borghaus was like making 50-something yarders. Like we had the other drive inside the 5 where we false started and got the that third down was there too, and their lineman made a great play and jumped up and batted the ball down. That was there. It was actually a good throw for once too. Damn it. That drive too, like we ended up kicking a field goal and making it on, but like that was inside the 5 also. We false started and got in the trouble. You got to get touchdowns on those because there's a big. You can drive all the way to the 5 if you kick a 22-yard field goal. That's the same thing as just getting to the 35 and Borghaus making a 52-yarder. You got to get touchdowns on those tries.
Really quick before we leave, because obviously I think we went longer than we expected.
Yeah, and we got F1 coming up in 5 minutes.
I know, crazy.
Train stops for no one.
I know Anthony said that. I've said this. He said something about
the multiple coordinators for TVD.
TVD's confidence. I don't why mid-season it's affected his confidence.
Yeah, I don't think that's. I mean, something is. He lost it. Like I said, he's got the yips. It's not really explicable by rationality of this caused it, because if you knew what caused it, you could fix it.
Correct.
Right. It's kind of just, and this is why it would be great to have a cupcake opponent where you could just, make some easy throws, get his confidence back up.
You have Campbell for crying out loud last week.
No, I mean, if you got something like that, then you absolutely start TVD and let him get his confidence back.
A bunch of idiots. That's
well, I mean, UNC did a little SEC action there by putting that cupcake late in the air, but no, but this is the problem with having all of your easier games at the front of the schedule. Like, there's no we talked about this in the preseason. There's no breathing time.
Yeah,
so it's just boom, 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 boom. And now that he's kind of lost it a little bit, there's no place for him to get healthy. And as bad as that performance was last weekend, North Carolina State's a top 30 defense. Like, he's trying to work through this stuff against good defenses. It's just not going to happen. I mean, so it sucks for him, but that's the way it is. But I don't think it's caused by that. He was good with the same offensive coordinator earlier this year.
Yeah.
Like I said, if we could take that package, and it wasn't even necessarily his best performance, but if you could package that North Carolina performance in the game we lost and shove it out on the field on Saturday, we'd all sign up for that right now. Yeah, I'll take 390 yards and 4 touchdowns and a pick right now. Hell yeah.
Shit.
But like, there's no way he's doing that.
No.
He can't make any of those throws anymore. And that was only 3 weeks ago. So it's just is what it is, man. I don't know what happened to him, but it's gone.
Maybe we'll have some content for you guys tomorrow too, and another special heavy hitter guest. So we're working on that. I'm working on that as well. So keep it locked for that. But as we said, this will be on podcast form.
So, I would just say, like, nothing we do this year is going to affect Mario's trajectory.
Right. Yeah.
We're nowhere near where we need to be at. We have to, again, we talked about this on Monday.
We're a better football team than we were last year.
We are, but also like
6-3, being 6-3 right now is not a terrible thing. I think it's the way that we've lost these last couple of games where we've given it away, basically, is what hurts. I get that. But this is a way better football team than it was last year.
It's a way better football team. And also, there's still gaps, and one of them is at quarterback. Not that
it just so happens that the most important position we're not very good at right now. Everything
it's not just that we're not very good at, it's that it's not recruited evenly yet.
Yeah, right.
You should have like a sophomore with some starts under his belt and a junior on this roster as well, because TVD's like in his 4th or 5th year. Like, you should have other people there. There's just not, and that's fine. It's a work in progress. We get that. So
we'll get there.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, it doesn't matter who he starts or whatever. It's not going to affect his career here. Right. Mario's career is not going to be made or broken off of this season at all.
Right. I agree. Keep it locked here for more content. Make sure you follow us on Twitter at 6ringscanes. And, of course, subscribe to the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever it is that you get your podcasts. This will be there up and running later on.
And if you're playing hooky at work tomorrow, 11 a.m. the women play.
There you go.
Open their season at 11 a.m. So
that's interesting. All right.
They do an education. They do an education to everywhere. They let school children field trip from school and come in. That's why.
Oh, cool. All right.
You will hear them screaming. Turn your volume down if you're trying to cheat and watch that work, because those kids do not shut up for 2 hours. They just scream the whole fucking time.
I bet you will. We'll see you guys soon again. Take it easy.
The 6 Ring Kane Show. Yeah. The 6 Ring Kane Show. Yeah. The 6 Rings Kane Show. You know.